Viewer discretion is advised.
Clay Bennett is one of the co-founders of Chesapeake Energy Corporation, which somehow is shockingly involved in many controversies, including collusion, shady business deals, environmental damage, chemical spills, and a landslide which they caused. But hey, more people were probably pissed when KD left than all that OKC Thunder. Well, you moved from Seattle in 2006, and that really pissed those people in the Northwest off so much that they haven't bothered to replace you. Before you got to OKC and squandered opportunities, you lost to an 8 seed in the playoffs, the first time that's ever happened. And your time in Bricktown has been marked by talent leaving, missing opportunities, blowing series leads, and having Klay Thompson hitting all of the threes on you. All the threes. So to whom it may concern, we are reaching out to members of the OKC Thunder and using this letter to get back to you, considering we missed all of your calls during the playoffs last year. Signed, the NBA refs. P.S. You would think with a $300 million payroll to be the 5th best team in the West, you could slide us a few of those dollars and maybe things would go your way. Ever hear the phrase, "Don't let the door hit you on the way out"? Well, in their last year in Seattle, the Sonics got out of there so fast, they left a vapor trail. KD was on this squad, but he couldn't stop Allen Iverson, Melo, and Kenyon Martin from balling. To top it off, Marcus Camby had a triple-double with 15 boards, 10 assists, 13 points, and 4 blocks. Nice job, Stickman. After starring in the movie Beauty and the Beast, Rumble the Bison brought his flowing locks to OKC, where they gave him a giant drum and he gets the crowd all riled up. That drumming must have been so intimidating it scared off 2 superstars already. Previously known as the Ford Center, the Chesapeake Energy Arena has been a monument to all of the Sonics fans' sadness since 2008. The building also served as a temporary home to the New Orleans Hornets after Hurricane Katrina. The barn now serves as a venue for Russell Westbrook's Hero Ball. I'm also quite surprised the entire building isn't constructed out of brick. That's not a knock on Russell. OKC literally makes tons of bricks. It was 10 years ago that a basketball team cheated an entire city out of basketball. After trying to hold Seattle hostage for a new arena, Howard Schultz sold the team to Clay Bennett, who moved them out of town faster than Charles Barkley in front of churros. With top pick KD, joined by Westbrook and Harden, OKC enjoyed immediate success while Seattle got nothing. Will somebody please get Terrence Ferguson a protein shake? You have watched star after star come to your dusty Bricktown only to have them disappear like our supply of N95 masks. Not just stars, MVP level talent. I guess a lot of people bring that up, so how about Dame Lillard doing this to you? Once the home of the Seattle Supersonics and formerly named the Key Arena, this nearly 60-year-old building was only in use for the last 20 years for the WNBA. So it was basically abandoned when the Sonics went to OKC. Refurbished and redeveloped into the Climate Pledge Arena, the unique name was given to it by Jeff Bezos, who rather than naming it the Amazon Center, he wanted to bring awareness to something we all forgot about at the start of 2020. Major sports will return to the arena next year when the Seattle Kraken occupy the building. Legally.
Rumble the Bison, Oklahoma City. A good mix of cute and intimidating. Rumble kind of creeps me out a bit with its eyes. It looks like it wants to hit on me or something and I'm not interested. Still, the design is pretty good besides that and it gets points. Rating, 7 out of Oklahoma City Thunder, Kevin Durant. Even though he is the basketball version of Judas to OKC fans, there's no denying KD is the best player the Sonics and Thunder have ever produced. Yeah, you can argue for Gary Payton, I guess, but get real. KD was a super duper star and OKC enjoyed a tremendous run of success during his 9 seasons with the club. He never won a ring, but he made an NBA Finals and 4 conference finals in a 6-year span. He won an MVP award and 4 scoring titles. He was widely seen as the second best player in basketball behind LeBron for most of his time in OKC. No other player, Seattle or OKC, has ever had reached such heights. I honestly don't give a fuck that he left OKC, but man, why'd you have to go to Golden State? Jesus, it still makes me angry to this. Oklahoma City Thunder, Mohamed Sene. Sene really had a fascinating career. Despite showing zero previous signs of of being a good basketball player, he was taken 10th overall in 2006 by Seattle due to his quote-unquote potential, which is to say he was tall and could block some shots. It became apparent very quickly that Sene wasn't an NBA caliber player, and he finished his NBA career with just 103 points and 47 games played. I mean, how the hell does a team whiff this badly on a player? I'll never understand. Oklahoma City Thunder. I could talk about how this franchise won 0 titles with Durant, Westbrook, and Harden together, or how Kevin Durant cucked them in 2016, but those stories have been rehashed millions of times already, so let's take a different angle. The last few years, the Thunder have done the same thing the 76ers did during the Sam Hinkie era with the process, and have gotten none of the shit for it because Sam Presti is a media darling. Resting healthy players for no reason to tank and get high draft picks like Chet Holmgren and potentially Victor Wembanyama next year. Guess what? This strategy is like crypto. It sounds good and gives you false hope for the future, but inevitably ends up being a complete dud. Enjoy it, OKC fans.
2012, the Oklahoma City Thunder eliminated the Spurs in Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. After falling behind 2-0, the Thunder rallied on their home court and headed back to San Antonio tied 2-2. With a 103-101 lead and under 30 seconds to play in Game 5, James Harden drilled a dagger 3 to push the Thunder's lead to 5. OKC left the building with a 3-2 series lead. In Game 6, the Spurs led by as much as 18, but a huge third quarter from the Thunder, including this lead-grabbing 3 from Durant, helped Oklahoma City set a date with LeBron James and the Miami Heat in the finals. It was their first NBA Finals appearance since 1996, when they were known as the Seattle Supersonics. This 2012 OKC squad was led here by a core of Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, Serge Ibaka, and Sixth Man of the Year James Harden, all under the age of 24. At the helm were the man that drafted these stars, General Manager Sam Presti, and former Coach of the Year Scott Brooks. But this trip to the finals began in Seattle back in 2007, when the Supersonics drafted Kevin Durant 2nd overall. Durant went on to be named Rookie of the Year, but the Sonics weren't done showcasing their eye for talent. In 2008, they selected Russell Westbrook with the 4th pick and Serge Ibaka 24th via a pick they acquired from the Phoenix Suns. But less than a week later, the Sonics, a beloved team in the Pacific Northwest, packed their bags and headed to Oklahoma City, adopting the name Thunder on the way. A 23-59 record in the first season in their new city landed them the 3rd overall pick in the 2009 draft, a draft in which the Thunder selected Arizona State guard James Harden. In 2010, they locked up Durant with a 5-year, $86 million extension. In return, he helped deliver the Thunder a 55-27 record and a 4 seed in the playoffs. OKC then advanced to the Western Conference Finals before falling to a Mavs team that would go on to defeat LeBron and the Heat in the finals. The following year, the Thunder handed Westbrook a 5-year extension of his own before securing a 2 seed in the lockout-shortened 2011-2012 season behind Durant's 3rd consecutive scoring title. A thrilling playoff run put them within arm's reach of an NBA championship, as the basketball world appeared to have its next dynasty coming together before its eyes. The Thunder had home court advantage and momentum as they entered a series against a Heat team that was proven to be vulnerable the year before. Could this young gun team delay King James his crown one more year? No. After taking Game 1 in Oklahoma City, the Thunder fell silent as Miami's Big Three turned up the heat. LeBron and company won 4 straight to give the city of Miami its 2nd NBA championship. The offseason became one of big decisions for GM Sam Presti, as both Serge Ibaka and James Harden entered the final year of their rookie contracts. In August, Ibaka signed a 4-year, $48 million extension, casting a sudden shadow of doubt over OKC's ability to re-sign Harden without diving headfirst into luxury tax hell. What the Thunder didn't know was that a new TV deal was going to help the salary cap explode in a couple years, providing aloe for those luxury tax burns. But with an inability to predict the future, they did what they thought was right. They offered Harden a deal worth about $5 million short of the max. They asked their budding star, who had already sacrificed a starting role to help the team, to sacrifice a little bit more to help their bottom line. Harden understandably felt he had sacrificed enough already, and with neither side budging, Presti decided to flip him to the Rockets for a haul including Kevin Martin, Jeremy Lamb, and draft picks. The max deal they couldn't afford to pay him worked out to about $16 million a year, essentially chump change compared to some of the contracts signed after the salary cap spike. But that's the tragedy of the situation. As the stars began to align, the timing was just a bit off. Or they blew it. The choice is yours. Even without Harden, the Thunder dismantled the rest of the league en route to the Western Conference's best record, becoming the fourth youngest roster ever to win 60 games. A top seed in the conference set up a first-round playoff matchup against a familiar face, the Beard himself and his 8th-seeded Rockets. It was the Rockets' first playoff appearance since 2009, and it's all thanks to Harden flourishing in his newly acquired starring role. But as is customary in the first round, the 1 seed prevailed as the Thunder closed out the Rockets in 6. But the most consequential moment of the series came in Game 2. As a timeout was called in the second quarter, Rockets guard Patrick Beverley lunged at the ball, connecting with Westbrook's knee in the process. An MRI revealed a torn meniscus, and surgery would sideline him indefinitely. Game 3 would be the first game Westbrook ever missed, including college and high school. He was sorely missed the following round as a rematch of the 2011 semifinals handed the Memphis Grizzlies an opportunity for revenge. An opportunity they seized, sending the Thunder packing in 5 games. In the offseason, one part of the Harden trade left while another one was cashed in. With the 12th pick in the 2013 draft, Toronto's pick that they acquired from Houston, OKC selected future all-rookie second-team center Steven Adams. Then, shortly after the draft, Kevin Martin, who proved not to be the scoring replacement for Harden the team had hoped, was flipped to the Timberwolves via a sign-and-trade. A second knee surgery prior to the start of the 13-14 season only cost Westbrook the first 2 games, and after filling the Knicks' stocking with a 29-point loss on Christmas Day, the 23-5 Thunder looked primed for another title run. But mere days later, it was announced that Westbrook would undergo a third knee surgery, sidelining him until late February. In his absence, Durant continued to do what Durant does: dominate. OKC finished with the second-best record in the NBA behind the Spurs, and for his efforts, Durant was named MVP. But with the playoffs came another series against the grit-and-grind Grizzlies, this time in the first round. In Game 2, a Mike Miller 3 put Memphis up 2 with under a minute to play. Then down 5 with the shot clock turned off, Durant hit a shocker to set up a 4-point play. A putback at the buzzer by Kendrick Perkins sent it to overtime. It was the first of 4 straight games to head to OT, but it was also the first of 3 of those games to end in favor of Memphis. OKC found themselves facing elimination in Game 6 and came out swinging, blowing out the Grizzlies in Memphis 104-84. In the midst of that frustrating loss, Grizzlies forward Zach Randolph punched Steven Adams in the face while in transition, leading to a suspension for the pivotal Game 7, a game in which the Thunder won handily behind Westbrook's triple-double and Durant's 33 points. The grind continued as OKC battled through 6 games with the Clippers. They prevailed to set up a Western Conference Finals rematch with the Spurs, but lost to Ibaka in the process, as a calf strain in Game 6 would supposedly sideline him for the remainder of the playoffs. The Thunder struggled mightily in his absence, missing his defense while being routed in the first 2 games. Then, much to everyone's surprise, Ibaka returned for Game 3, bringing with him new life to a Thunder team that managed to string together back-to-back wins. But a Game 5 loss put them on the brink of elimination. With under 30 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter of Game 6, Manu Ginobili drilled a 3 to give San Antonio a 1-point lead. Durant fell during the Thunder's ensuing possession, putting the ball back into the hands of Ginobili, who split 2 free throws and pushed their lead to 2. Westbrook would send it to OT with a couple free throws, but it was there that the Spurs would pull away. Oklahoma City's season ended short of the finals once again. Heartbreaking for Thunder fans? Of course, but at least their core was perfectly healthy, putting them in position to run it back. In October, prior to the start of the 2014-2015 season, Kevin Durant was diagnosed with a Jones fracture in his foot. He made his return in December, but in February he underwent a procedure to relieve discomfort in his foot, and on March 27th, he was officially ruled out for the rest of the season after electing to undergo another surgery. Durant's absence, along with Westbrook's missed time early in the season due to a fractured hand, put OKC in a hole that they never recovered from. The Thunder were on the outside looking in come playoff time, finishing 9th in the Western Conference via a tiebreaker with the Pelicans. It was the first playoffs without the Thunder since 2009, and it cost head coach Scott Brooks his job. In the words of Serge Ibaka, "Why would you fire him? What has he done?" Florida Gators head coach Billy Donovan was hired in his place, and with their core back at full strength, the team turned their focus to the future. Durant and Westbrook went on a tear and helped push the team to 55 wins, good enough for a 3 seed in the 2016 playoffs. After knocking off the Mavs in 5, the Thunder once again met with the Spurs. But this time it was OKC's turn to finish the series in 6, advancing to the Western Conference Finals. It was there that they met the defending champion Golden State Warriors, coming off a record-setting 73-9 regular season. By beating the 95-96 Bulls record of 72 wins, this Warriors team had a legitimate case to be remembered as the greatest team of all time. But the Thunder were up to the task. For a bit. OKC handed Golden State their first home loss of the playoffs in Game 1, thanks to double-doubles by 4 members of the Thunder starting lineup. The Warriors bounced back in Game 2, but upon returning to Oklahoma City, the Thunder trounced the Warriors in back-to-back games. OKC was in possession of a commanding 3-1 series lead that had the greatest regular season team in NBA history facing elimination. Determined not to be eliminated on their home court, the Warriors extended the series with a win in Game 5, sending it back to Oklahoma City and giving the Thunder a chance to end it in front of their hometown fans. But with 5 minutes remaining in the fourth, Warriors trailing by 7, Klay Thompson hit a 3 from way beyond the arc. It was his NBA playoff record 10th three-pointer of the night, and it cut the Thunder lead to 4. A three-pointer a minute later from the other Splash Bro, Steph Curry, cut the lead to 1. In the final minutes of the game, the three-point barrage continued as Curry hit again, this time tying the game at 99. With the score locked at 101, Andre Iguodala stripped Westbrook, leading to Thompson's 11th three-pointer of the game. It gave the Warriors a lead they would retain to force a decisive Game 7. OKC entered half up 48-42 in the do-or-die final game of the series, but then the Warriors did what the Warriors do and dominated the third quarter, holding the Thunder to only 12 points and securing a double-digit lead heading into the fourth. Oklahoma City would never lead again, as Golden State became the 10th team in NBA history to come back from a 3-1 deficit in the playoffs. An absolutely crushing blow to the OKC fanbase. The Warriors then went on to become the first team in NBA history to blow a 3-1 series lead in the finals, falling to LeBron and the Cavs. But they were about to get some major help. On draft day, the Thunder traded Serge Ibaka to the Magic for a package that involved Victor Oladipo. The plan was to give Kevin Durant, who entered the offseason as a free agent, additional scoring help. But the salary cap spike that would have alleviated the Thunder's contract woes had they given James Harden a max deal in 2012 also gave just about every other NBA team enough space to make a run at signing Durant. The winner of the KD sweepstakes, the team that signed one of the greatest scorers of all time in his prime, was a team that already had 2 of the greatest, if not the 2 greatest shooters of all time, and holders of a record 73-win season, the Golden State Warriors. It was a decision that sent shockwaves throughout the NBA world, and especially through the Oklahoma City team and fan base. The prevailing thought after Durant's decision was that Westbrook would not sign an extension and would instead play out the final year of his contract. But Westbrook inked a 3-year deal in August, stating, "There's nowhere else I'd rather be than Oklahoma City," and adding, "Loyalty is something that I stand by." When asked why he decided to sign the extension now rather than at the end of the season, he replied, "There's no need to wait if you know where you want to be." Thus began what has been dubbed Westbrook's revenge tour. His 42 triple-doubles in the 2016-2017 season overtook Oscar Robertson's record of 41 set in 1962, and made him the first player since Robertson to average a triple-double for the season. The MVP race that year came down to 2 players, Westbrook and his former teammate James Harden. In the end, Westbrook received the crown, but the real battle between the two came in the first round of the playoffs. It was the second time Harden and the Rockets faced off against his old team in the postseason, but this time it was Houston that would advance. The Rockets eliminated the Thunder in 5 games, making it clear that Westbrook couldn't do it alone. As for Kevin Durant, he was named Finals MVP as he finally became a champion. In the offseason, the Thunder made two huge moves. The first came in July when they traded a package including Victor Oladipo for Pacers superstar Paul George. The second came in September when Westbrook signed a 5-year supermax deal worth over $200 million, cementing his place in a Thunder uniform. They also traded for former All-Star Carmelo Anthony, which would have been a bigger deal if it worked out. Anthony never really fit in, and it started a game of hot potato as he bounced around the league. But Melo stayed with the team for the duration of the year, a year in which Westbrook and George proved to be a formidable duo, just not good enough to get out of the first round of the playoffs. But even as Durant collected his second NBA championship and James Harden became the third member of the 2012 Thunder to be named MVP, OKC appeared to be on the verge of great things of their own. Despite speculation for years that George had a desire to play in LA, he re-signed with OKC, stating, "I'm here to stay." Paul George was there to stay, committed to the Thunder for 4 years. Shortly after re-signing George, they sent Anthony to the Hawks, where he would play no games for them. On April 10th, the final regular season game of the 2018-2019 season, Russell Westbrook tied Magic Johnson for second on the career triple-double list with his 138th. OKC won that game, locking in the 6th seed in the playoffs. In the first round, the Thunder matched up against Portland and fell behind 3-1. They put up a fight in an attempt to stave off elimination in Game 5, but with the game tied at 115, Damian Lillard decided to mark his chapter in basketball lore with a game winner in Paul George's face. Lillard ended OKC's season and then waved goodbye, which was fitting because a few months later, Paul George requested a trade to the Clippers in order to join forces with Kawhi Leonard in LA. In the wake of George's departure, Westbrook asked for a trade as well. In an attempt to do right by him, Oklahoma City found a trade partner high on Westbrook's list. On July 11th, Russell Westbrook was reunited with an old friend when he was traded to the Houston Rockets for Chris Paul and a backpack full of draft picks. Sam Presti, without the benefit of a number 1 pick, drafted 3 future MVPs in 3 consecutive drafts. It's the beginning of what should be a story of historic triumph, a meticulously crafted master plan for basketball dominance. But in the end, it was all just a stack of paper in the wind, as fans and front office alike reached out to the pieces of success floating around them. There was nothing they could do but watch it all disappear over the horizon.